So we're joined now by Lai Mohammed, who is a National Publicity Secretary of the APC. Morning, and thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Well, how would you assess the elections, especially after the results have been declared?
Well, you see, we've always said that an election is a process, and that things that happen before, during, and after the election are as important as what happened on election day. Yes, the election has gone in Osun State. A winner has emerged, but there are many lessons that we need to take away from the Osun election. Yeah, the first and most important to our party is the issue of a level playing field for everybody. And I want to say here very loudly and categorically that there was no level playing field at the Osun election.
Why do you say so?
Now, you see, there are two bodies that are very central to any election. There's the INEC and the security. And overall, it's the federal government. A federal government must be disinterested, must be non-partisan in its approach to any election because it controls all the federal institutions, including INEC, including security. I will start with the security. We have no issues at all if security is brought to an election to a state to ensure a level playing ground for everybody. But when you bring in security to tip the election in favor of one party against the other, we start getting worried. I'll give you 3 instances. Now, about 2 weeks to the election, a convoy of personnel of the State Security Service in about 50 trucks were driving through Osun State, through Osogbo. Many of them wearing masks and shooting into the air.
50 trucks?
50 trucks. You see, this report is said to be contradicted today. The only thing we heard from the head of the SSS in Osogbo was that, yes, there is men. But when they were asked, why were they wearing masks? He said he was going to investigate. When did masks become part of the official uniform of the Department of State Security Service? And why would 50 trucks of masked DSS personnel be driving through Osogbo and shooting in the air to intimidate innocent citizens all before election?
So while they were driving in, all of them were shooting into the air, or some of them?
I think this was widely reported in all the newspapers, and I don't think I'm manufacturing it. I would not know whether they were all shooting, but it's bad enough that even one of them was shooting in the air.
Okay.
And it's bad enough that even one of them was wearing masks. Now, the second example was the Wednesday to the election. The NLC and the NUC jointly wanted to have a rally in support of Governor Afo. The police and the SSS aborted the rally. That does not give you the impression of a security, team that was there to provide a level playing field.
How did they do that, sir?
Oh, they went to this rally was supposed to hold at the Freedom Park. And they went to the police and told the police that they should not allow them to hold the rally at the Freedom Park because there was a division within the rank of the NLC and NUC, which was unknown to anybody.
Okay.
Thirdly, you see, we are not afraid of security per se. If it is the official, the usual police, the usual military, the usual DSS, because we believe these are trained people. We believe they operate within a code of, ethics. But when you now put uniforms on hoodlums and you give protection to hoodlums, it becomes an issue. And I'll tell you what I lived through.
So when you say hoodlums, who, the people that were wearing masks, or how?
No. Oh, that's a different one. You see, hoodlums, I mean when you pack miscreants hoodlums and thugs, and you give them official uniform of either the defense, civil defense, or DSS.
That actually happened.
That actually happened.
Is there any case of any of such persons who was unearthed as a hoodlum?
Absolutely. You see, I'll give you 3 examples here. The first was that on Thursday, I was driving into Osogbo shortly after Gbongan. I saw about 25 to 30 cars parked on the roadside. And there were these young men, all dressed in civil defense uniforms. Now, what gave them out? One was that they were all of the same age bracket. All their uniforms were uniformly new. And they were not even driving in official vehicles. They had all kinds of cars, Datsun, Toyota. Even some of them had foreign registration numbers. And they parked on the side of the road, and you could see from their comportment and color, these are not civil defense, cars, of course. Later, they overtook my convoy, and the reckless manner in which they were driving, of course, no trained security would drive that way. We made this report. 2, we got to report that some thugs were being imported from neighboring states. We got the numbers of the vehicles, and we made a report, yet they were allowed to come in. And when they got to the NYC camp in Ede, we made a further report. Now, I was abducted. Those who abducted me are not official, police or DSS men. They were not. Because one, why would any official of DSS be masked or be hooded? What we know about military men and officers and policemen is that they should have a name tag and even a number.
So in this case, there was no name tag, just the hooded ones?
Look, when we don't even say man's face, how would you say his name tag?
Because some could have the tag
I am
here
saying there was
and the
nothing like that.
You couldn't see the eyes, nothing?
No.
We'll get across to DSS and find out
Give us
if
your
that happened.
own account, though, of what happened with your arrest, or abduction, as you prefer to call it.
Yeah, you see, I'd been in Osun for more than a week, yes. But when we came back on Thursday, we assessed the situation with the governor. By Friday evening, there was an escalation of violence in certain parts of the state. We could start getting a report about people being, intimidated, people being shot at, and all kind of things. So the governor decided he was going to have a state broadcast to calm nerves, reassure the people that, look, the military, they are not here to kill anybody. Come out tomorrow and cast your vote. So we were on the way to the governor's lodge. Actually, we were staying within about 5 minutes, distance to the governor's residence. And then we got to this, right on this street behind the governor's residence. We met this military, this road check, and of course we stopped. We were asked to come down. We came down. Myself, Sunday Dari, who was the PA to Ashiwaju, and Mr. Falabi, the Deputy Chief of Staff to the Governor of Ogun State, and we were asked to identify ourselves. And I identified myself as Lai Mohammed, and I was asked to step aside. And I was actually asked to get into the bus. And I said, why would I get into the bus? He said, because you're under arrest. And I said, what is my offense? And then man, put a gun to my head and actually pushed me into the vehicle. We got into the vehicle.
What color was the vehicle?
I think it's a very, it must be black bus. It can take up to about 30 people. We got into the bus, and then we met these gunmen, all hooded, very hostile. Our phones were taken away from us, and after what seemed like eternity, we were driven to the directorate of the headquarters of the State Security Service, where we met other people who had been similarly arrested for whatever reason I didn't know. Various forms of demonization. Some of them were stripped naked. Some of them were asked to be lying flat on the floor. They were asked to join them, which we did. We were actually waiting for the time they would ask us also to start undressing. My worry most time, all this time, was we could have been taken anywhere into the bush and be shot. So I was really very happy. I was relieved when we were finally taken to the directorate of the SSS, the headquarters. We stayed there, and after a long time, some officers came, Meanwhile, we were put into we were in the vehicle. They got down. They had discussions. They had meetings. Then we were finally brought down. When we were brought down, we were asked to line up. We did, the three of us, and then some officers came. Then the narrative changed, and they asked where we were picked up. We told them it was in front of the governor's house. They said, where was our vehicle? We said, well, our vehicle, we were forced out of our vehicle. We didn't know where our vehicle would be. After some argument, they asked, okay, we should go back to the bus. They will go and drop us where our vehicle was dropped. Oh, no, where we were picked up. And I said, no, I won't enter that vehicle again. I won't enter that vehicle because I wouldn't know where they're going to drive me to.
So how long did all this take, and when were you let go?
About 2-3 hours. And then until the officer, volunteered to accompany us and guarantee our safety to where our vehicle was. After about an hour, we got inside the vehicle again, in that bus again. They drove us to where our vehicle was. And then again, they kept us inside the bus for about an hour. For another 1 hour, there was a heated argument between the hooded gunmen and the officer. Finally, we were asked to get down from the vehicle. We got to our car. Our driver had been beaten, he'd been dispossessed, and then we had no option than to drive straight into the governor's house, where we had to stay until the next morning.
And when you got to the DSS, because now you confirmed that you were driven into the DSS office, so most likely the DSS arrested you.
Yes.
You said you met other people. Were they members of other political parties, or it was just?
No, we didn't have the opportunity of asking anybody what we were doing there anyway. But I asked them.
You couldn't identify anybody there as being a member of a political party.
No.